Welcome back to TYT Sports, PLUTO TV. That's Zach. Zach is our intern for the summer. And guess what? You intern at TYT Sports, man.
Get on.
You get to come on the show.
Look at this.
Francis isn't here. He did something really bad. He did something really bad, and we had to send him away for 2 weeks. He's in Scotland because we couldn't have him here. You can tweet at him if you'd like, at Francis M. Maxwell, with your thoughts about what he did to be sent out of the country. And I know it's messed up, but hey, that's just the way it is.
Happens.
He will be back at some point, but I can't even tell you when, or I'll be liable. We're gonna jump right into it. There's been a lot of NBA free agency over the past week. You're seeing this on the PLUTO platform on Friday. So at this point, you know that Gordon Hayward set off some fireworks and went to the Boston Celtics on July 4th. But more important, I shouldn't say more importantly, but of equal importance, there was a lot of other deals that were done, namely involving the Clippers, of course, the Nuggets and the Hawks and the Kings. Let's start with the Clippers. Okay. They pick up Danilo Gallinari, who I think is a good trade. They gave up a pick, which you don't necessarily want to see. Yeah. But as we know, by re-signing Blake Griffin, that was their big free agency splash for 5 years and giving him the money. He's going to be playing, as Bill Simmons calls it, let him run the point forward, let him be now the orchestrator. Yeah. Worked for Dan Keston for some time now, and Dan Keston, our wonderful EP, well, he knows that Blake shouldn't really have the ball in the end of the fourth quarter.
That's a little dangerous. Yeah.
But maybe he won't be getting the play to score. Maybe he'll be getting more of the Chris Paul role to set up.
Facilitate, yeah.
Facilitate, set up a Danilo Gallinari. Let's get to the details of the trade though, because it's pretty interesting. Woj, of course.
Woj bomb.
Of course. I mean, there's the Shams bombs too.
Shams bombs.
But the Clippers have reached agreement on a 3-team deal to acquire free agent Danilo Gallinari on a 3-year, $65 million contract. I know it's not a terrible contract, especially because for 3 years, Gallinari's what, 28? So you're not going to get that 4 or 5 years where he's already past that point.
And he's had injury concerns, yeah. Yes. So the 3 years is a good number.
Absolutely, there's an optimism to this because the Clippers are they winning a championship with this team? No. Are they competing and making the playoffs? Yeah. I think actually without some of these moves, they might not have been possibly a fringe playoff team. So second part of that though is Jamal Crawford's going to the Atlanta Hawks, likely going to get a buyout, which will make him one of the last free agents to come on the market.
Very good, yeah.
Good locker room guy. Obviously, I have an extreme bias towards how much I love Jamal Crawford. So most people are going, we don't want 37-year-old Jamal Crawford who's a microwave and kind of shot the Clippers out of the playoffs in some points. But he's a good person, you know? He's a good veteran locker room
professional,
guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's still never hit the gym. I have so much respect for that. So much respect. And then lastly, the Kings. The Kings signed 2 veterans to add to their very weird, you have to be either over 34 or under 19 if you want to play for our franchise. You're under 20. George Hill, who got some damn good court vision, and
still
Zach
a great starting point guard.
George Hill. You know what? Here's the thing. George Hill's playing in the wrong era. Yeah. George Hill was born to play in the 90s. Yeah. George Hill would have been a champion point guard in the 90s.
Just stretch point guard, D and 3. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if he could have been, George Hill could have been a better Derek Fisher. Yeah. Was George Hill playing during that time in the early 2000s? The Lakers won a championship.
Maybe.
No, he might have come out a little bit older. I mean, still, George Hill, respectable guy. So out of these moves, right, a lot of people are going to go, why are you focused so much on the Kings and the Clippers when the Warriors and the Spurs and the Rockets and the Timberwolves got so much better? Like, these aren't the free. This is what's left of free agency, and they're important moves. Also, Patrick Patterson to the Thunder on the best value deal, except his numbers are, I mean, 3 years.
They needed shooting, so that's a good deal. The Clippers deal, I really like because sneakily they now have Gallinari, Lou Will, and Blake, which are 3 pretty talented offensive players. And like you said, I think what Jokic and Gallinari had in Denver, I think Jerry West and Doc Rivers kind of envisioned with Blake and Gallinari. It's a shame because the Clippers have always needed a player like Gallinari. When Chris Paul was there, they needed a guy that was kind of a big size and can shoot and stretch the floor and stretch it out for Chris Paul and Blake. But now you have, like you said, Blake Griffin, who's going to be the primary facilitator. I expect DeAndre Jordan's numbers to go down significantly because, like you said, him and Chris Paul were he made his career. But you got Patrick Beverley, you got Lou Will. It's competitive. You maybe sneak in the playoffs. I'm not saying you get top 5 in the West with all, like you said, the Thunder making all these deals, the Timberwolves getting better. But I like what they're doing.
Now that
they're still gonna have some flexibility.
Now that the pressure is off, because at least it's not the same amount of pressure when you talk about the Clippers. Because that window, that championship team that was on paper always the team, the dark horse, everybody's, the
Warriors
4
kryptonite,
or the 3 seed
when they had that little rivalry.
Absolutely, they were the last team to beat the Warriors in the playoffs, not named the Caps. So at least the last team to beat the Warriors in the Western Conference was the Los Angeles Clippers. And that window closes, and you go, okay, now they're coming back this year as not the team who's supposed to sneak in and win the finals, right, and just upset everybody. Now they're coming in maybe with some underrated expectations, I guess, in a way. So they needed to address some of the backcourt in the contracts. They have 16 shooting guards. They don't need 16 shooting guards. It's unbelievable. They also don't need Austin Rivers. But still, and here's the video I have to throw in and post for you. There's a video of Blake impersonating Austin Rivers.
Oh, jeez.
And it is unbelievably funny.
Who are you impersonating right now?
It's Austin Rivers.
Austin, that's your shit, Austin?
There's optimism with this. There's optimism for the Clippers. Not like they're going to win a championship in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Now, the Nuggets, on the other hand, keep this going, and don't get jazzed. Don't lose the guys you draft to free agency, because of all the teams I can think of, minus like the 76ers and the Lakers, of all this young talent and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, the Hornets with Kemba and Malik Monk and whatever the F ever happens with Dwight Howard.
Yep.
Like the Nuggets with Gary Harris and Jamal Murray, that's a really good young backcourt that will get better.
And Mudiay. Yeah.
And Mudiay, who's a good trade piece at this point.
Yeah.
Jokic, who, I mean, his
can build around.
Numbers speak for himself as another unicorn big man.
That next generation, yeah.
They're built for the future. They have, like, when all these other teams are eventually going to have to come down, like the Nuggets are going to be that surprise team to rise.
Yeah. And Millsap,
Thank you. And Millsap signed.
Nuggets, they needed front court rebounding to help Jokic, because he's a guy. He's a little finesse of a big man. He still gets his boards.
Yes.
But Millsap is a very perfect fit to play right alongside, who can also stretch the floor.
Jokic gets triple doubles, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell Westbrook, according to some people, ruined the triple-double because he uncontested rebounds. It's not as impressive. Look how many triple-doubles that Russell Westbrook gets. It is not normal for any center to just regularly get triple-doubles.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal for a guy to average
No-look passes over the head. It's guys on his size don't do it.
Don't trade Gary Harris. Do not trade Jamal Murray. Do not trade Jokic.
Trade Kenneth Faried.
That's for the 5th straight year. Kenneth Faried is the John Stones of NBA.
Yeah, just
for
never
5 years
quite,
is linked somewhere, and then finally, eventually, will move. I have one last call to action. Take Portland and move them to the Eastern Conference. For the sake of Lillard and McCollum, where Lillard would automatically become the 3rd best player in the Eastern Conference. Arguably the 2nd best player.
They'd probably be a top 4 team in the East.
They'd be a top 3 team in the East.
Yeah.
Take Portland and move them over here.